How are you doing? This is Shay, welcome back to Golf North Wales. You are watching the How to Hit the Ball 250 Yard series. This is either our second or our third video in the series, and I can confirm I still have no idea how to hit the ball 250 yards. I haven't got a clue. But what we're doing today, I was quite eager to come out and film this section, is we're going to play a few holes, maybe 2, maybe 3, and we're just going to see whereabouts I would be on the hole, and also how would I score on the holes if I was driving the ball 250 yards. It is wet out here. The green staff have done everything they can to keep the course open, given the fact that we're going into lockdown very soon. So definitely a testament to them. But if we just go out, have a quick look, hit some drives, regardless of where I hit it today, we're going to be taking a walk straight down the middle of the fairway, and we're going to see what 250 yards looks like. So we're closing in on that 250 yards. Step back a couple. So that's an awful long way down the fairway. I think if I managed to hit a drive deer every time, I'd be more than happy. We'll do that. So we got, with that wind, I'd say playing somewhere around 115 yards. So we're going to hit a pitching wedge, just try and get it all the way back there. But this certainly isn't a bad shot to be having in these conditions on the first. It's a little left, ballooned up. Still catches left side of the green, pin high. I think we'd take that one all day on the first, straight out the car. That's for sure. Right, so as we said, pin high and left on the first. This is a green I'm quite happy to hit in 2, however, I was much more confident hitting it 250 yards down the fairway there. Bit of a rough putt, that one. So, second hole, a gimme par on the first. Granted, it would have been even more a gimme could I actually be bothered putting today. Totally different hole from 250 yard drive that though, that's for sure. Let's see, we are on a temporary green here on the second, but that shouldn't really make too much a difference, knowing that I could be putting onto this rather than having to chip, so it just kind of proves our point a little more, I feel. That's a good one. Straight down the middle. I highly doubt it's got 250 yards for us though, so we'll go and see what 250 yards looks like. So as we come up on my ball, I don't want to brag myself up, folks. 248. So got another 2 yards to go. We'll go 1 and 2. It's certainly not a bad day. Can I drive the ball 250 yards? Yes. Looking at this shot, usually I'd be back around where the 150 yard markers is. So onto the actual green here, I'd probably be hitting something like a 54, but we are on the temporary today, so I'm just gonna grab my 7-iron. There's plenty of leaves in the fairway on the way there, and I'm just gonna knob one of these. Something like that. So with our little knob, we are just short of this temporary green. I believe 1 putt. This probably does represent my putting somewhat. 2 putt. Do the old Donald Trump. Yeah, that one definitely went in the hole. we'll call that ourselves another par from there. However, if we were playing the normal green, I wouldn't have had to keep the ball low over this fairway with leaves. I just chucked one on there for 2. I am pretty good with my wedges rather than my irons, so I would have definitely fancied us for a par again there. So we'll jump onto the 3rd and we'll just have another look at where 250 yards gets us. So this is the interesting one for me. Where does 250 yards off the tee get us on the 3rd at Mile End? You have to put a bit of loft on this, bit of spin. To just loft up the driver as much as we can to get it to stick here. Oh, I skimmed it over it through the bunker and on the green. Okay, so 250 yards off the par 3 tee. Oh, where are we, ball? There's a road there. We may be on the road. Of course, we don't want 250 yards off those tees, but let's jump on to the next. So the 4th at Mile End, par 5, definitely one of those holes you wouldn't mind hitting the ball 250 yards, unlike the 3rd. But short par 5s like this, I mean, it's a real risk for me to try and hit this in 2, because there's so much danger. But if I knew very confidently that I could hit the ball 250 off every tee, again, that's one, it's nice and low, so I don't think it will have gone the 250, but we'll certainly see whereabouts 250 will have got us to. So as we're taking a walk up on the ball here, 222 yards, we've hit that one off the tee. Certainly not a bad hit. It's obviously been helped by that bank somewhat, rolling down to here. Certainly not a bad hit, but we'll just pick that up. We'll take a little walk to 250. The tees are somewhat forwards at the moment, given the fact it's very wet and very miserable outside. But I think 250 yards turns this par 4, turns this short par 5 into what would be considered probably a par 4. So we're 252 here. We'll chuck the ball down and we'll see what shot we're left with. So all things considered, we're playing a temporary green, so we're no further than 80 yards from the green here on a par 5. So we've probably taken 50 yards off the hole, bringing the tees forward and bringing the green forward. But so I'm just going to hit a little chip. But I'll be honest, if this plus 50 on this, 130, I'm hitting a pitching wedge, maybe even a 50 degree at this, into a par 5. And as long as I can hit that green, I've got 2 putts for birdie. That's certainly not bad. Let's repair that grave. Let's see where 250 yards gets us in 2 on this par 5. Right, so walking up onto the temporary green, we have made the temporary green. So that's hitting a par 5 in 2, but the green is literally 20 yards further back. So if we're talking real greens here, what I'm probably going to give myself is I hit the green from 100 yards. Of course I'm hitting the green from 100 yards. However, I'm then 3-putting it. So after 3 holes, we're going to call that level par. Yes, I'm capable of shooting level par over the front sort of 7 or 8 holes at Mile End. It's never usually this easy though. Granted, we're playing forward tees and forward greens, but I'm still not missing a green this size from 100 yards. And if I am, I'm going to be here. So I'm 2-putting that and maybe 3-putting it for par. This game, if you can drive the ball 250 yards every time, this game is just going to be way, way easier to make a score. You're never going to find yourself having to hit 5 woods and 3 woods into par 4s, hitting the ball 250 yards. Even the longest par 5s we play, there's one at 450 here at Mile End. If I hit the ball 250 yards, the most I'm hitting into that is a 5 or a 6 iron, because it all runs downhill. Whereas at the moment, I'm laying up with a 5 iron, I'm laying up with a 6 iron. It's definitely going to give us more chances of scoring, hitting that ball loads further. So on to the 5th. I think this is the final hole we need to prove our point. On how easy a game this would be if we could hit the ball further. I am not going to leather this one because there are greenkeepers everywhere, all the way up the left, all the way up the right. They must be expecting me to hit the fairway. Tom, if you're watching, I am sorry. Just going to tap one up the right for the sake of play. Let's go see where 250 yards has get us on the 5th hole here at Mile End. I hope this is just telling the story a little bit here. From those forward tees, I'd imagine we'd be around about 200 at the moment. We're at 180, I think. Another 70 yards. It's quite a difficult tee shot here at the 5th as well. You've got to be straight, otherwise you find yourself in a bit of bother. But I have a feeling this isn't going to take us to the temporary green. This is going to take us to the proper green. Off the back tees, we're probably somewhere around about here, where we're usually at the top of that hill. 1 more yard, sorry, from those forward tees, we are here. Oh, he hasn't hauled it, has he? Oh, I still missed. So that is it, folks, for today's very crudely made video. I'm sorry about the video, and in general, we're without Scott today. He doesn't come out when it's wet. He's a bit scared of the wet weather. If this is something that you're interested in doing, maybe finding out how well you can play hitting the ball 250 yards, seeing how I get on. As I've said in the last video, we're just going to be starting off with a workout. Simple as that. Just something maybe 2 or 3 times a week, half an hour, so an hour and a half out of your week, just to try and bring up that club head speed, enable you to hit that ball a bit further. We'll see where we can get with just that alone, and if that succeeds, why aren't more of us doing it? If it is something you're interested in seeing more of, then please click the subscribe button, ring the bell to get notifications when more videos like this come out. They will be every week, as long as I can get them created, really, but there's no reason I shouldn't do. But the question I have asked, and I will ask again, 4 holes at Mile End, maybe not the 3rd, wouldn't want to hit a 250 there, but 4 holes at Mile End, not an overly short course, 350, 350, 450, and then we're talking 310. Those have just been made almost redundant. They're holes I struggle on. I can play well on them, but I've got to be hitting the fairway and I've got to be hitting good irons. But I've hit bad wedges there. I've not hit great shots, but hitting that ball all that far, it almost makes the game a whole lot easier. It's not an easy game, golf, we all know. That's why we keep coming back to it. But hitting the ball that far, it doesn't half make it loads easier. So, as I've said, if this is something you're interested in following, please subscribe, ring the bell, and hopefully, just hopefully, you might see some good golf on the channel come next year. If we can hit the ball this far, we'll see if we can get Scott on it. Can you imagine? Big jacked Scott. He'd be as wide as he is tall. It'd be great to see. But again, if you can just hit the comments below, if you can hit the ball this far, we want to know what you score. And if you can't, we want to know how you're planning on doing it. So again, hit the comments down below, and we will definitely, hopefully, see you next time.